It's the early hours of the morning on October 3, 2016. In a quiet Parisian suburb, Police Chief Christian Sant is fast asleep next to his wife. Since he investigated the Paris massacre the year before, he's had trouble getting a full night's sleep, but on this night he's blissfully swaddled in soft sheets, having sweet, sweet dreams. Not for long. At approximately 3 a.m., he's awoken from his slumber to the sound of his phone ringing. The noise stirs his wife out of sleep too, her mind immediately finding the words, "not again." The person on the other end of the line is the night officer calling from HQ. There's been a vol à main armé, an armed robbery. It's happened at a very swanky place too, a rarefied joint where Hollywood movie stars rub shoulders with oil barons. What he doesn't know at that very moment is he's being informed about a robbery of one of the world's biggest TV reality stars, a woman whose backside has had more TV time than global warming. Sant has no idea this case will become known in France as l'affaire Kardashian, a cause célèbre that'll turn out to sound like something from a crime novel. Nonetheless, when he hears her name, he doesn't even know who she is. Rubbing his eyes with one leg in his pants and a cup of coffee steaming next to his laptop, he types into a Google search box the words Kim Kardashian. After a bit of reading, he thinks, wow, this woman has a lot of likes on Facebook. He's soon surrounded by the paparazzi, to the extent that at times he feels like he's the last crop in the middle of a swarm of locusts. Sure, he's been in the spotlight before. He investigated that terrible massacre. He's worked on a number of very high-profile crimes, but nothing he's done can prepare him for a Kardashian. For him, of course, it's work. It's what he does. But for the rest of the world, it's entertainment. It's arguably the most real thing that's ever happened to the reality star. So what's ironic is many of her fans don't believe it happened. For the conspiracy theorists that hide in every corner of the internet, it's a staged event, something we'll come back to soon. Okay, so let's go back to the start. Maybe some of you have no idea what we're talking about. Perhaps even a few of you have remained sane enough to not get caught up in the world of Kim Kardashian and her famous family. We're not going to do some kind of bio here, so all you need to know is that Kim Kardashian is an incredibly wealthy American TV reality star who cut her teeth doing things in front of people who liked how she looked. Yeah, she got famous by being famous, for being a socialite, for being rich, for showing off her allegedly enhanced body parts, and finally, for marrying a rap star turned man that once wanted to be president, Kanye West. That relationship took a turn for the worse, and not long before we started writing the show, Kardashian had filed for divorce. Both her and West have been in Time's 100 Most Influential People. She was there before the robbery when she was already making buckets of money from influencing people. Her net worth as of June 2020 was said to be $900 million. When she was with West, as she was at the time of the heist, the two of them had an astronomical amount of cash. With that in mind, Kardashian wasn't and isn't averse to shelling out a few dollars on jewelry. Okay, so she went to France for Paris Fashion Week. We expect a bit of a holiday. She did once say holidays are the best, although perhaps her 2016 jaunt to Paris wasn't the best time of her life. In fact, her ordeal sounds terrifying. She was staying at a luxury residence on Paris's Rue Tronchet. Apparently, the hotel/apartment doesn't stand out. That's why it's sometimes called No Address Hotel. You can stay there if your name is on the guest list, if you know what we mean. You either have to be very wealthy or very famous. She liked the $16,000 plus a night suite a lot and had stayed there before with Mr. West. At the time of her heist, he wasn't there. He was doing a gig at an arts festival in New York. Quite suddenly, he just stopped playing and told the many fans, "I'm sorry, family emergency, I have to stop the show." Not long before that, at around 2:30 a.m. in Paris, 5 guys had entered the No Address Hotel. They shouldn't have been allowed into the place, but because they were all wearing police uniforms, the concierge opened the door. That was a mistake. The gang handcuffed him at gunpoint and demanded they take him to Kardashian's room. She was sleeping at the time, naked except for a bathrobe, when she thought she heard footsteps outside her door. She shouted, "Who's there?" to which there was no answer. It was then 2:56 a.m. that she called her bodyguard. The next thing she knew, 2 men appeared in front of her, and with them was a tied-up concierge. Both men were hooded, although only one of them had a ski mask on. Both guys were dressed mostly in black, and both of them had police written on their tops. Frightened out of their wits, she watched in horror as the guy with the ski mask approached her. In English, but in a foreign accent, he demanded she hand over her diamond engagement ring. That ring was reportedly worth $4 million. You can understand why she might not have wanted to give it up, and at first she told the man she didn't know where it was. Her memory soon improved when the guy held a gun to her head. He then started looking around for the rest of the stash. Here, we'll interrupt the story and tell you something about France's so-called homejackers. You see, robbing banks these days isn't all that easy. It's just so much security. In France, like in other countries, a new way to steal a ton of cash is by robbing the rich in their homes. Celebrities are sometimes the targets, especially ones whose lives you can follow online. You know what they own, sometimes where they're staying, and often what valuables they'd like to travel with. The day before she was robbed, Kardashian had posted a selfie on Instagram wearing an incredibly large and expensive diamond ring. She also posed with diamonds decorating her mouth. The crafty gang in France have been staking out Kardashian on social media. According to the French cops, these gangs are smart and will wait and prey for people that they've been watching online. In one case in France, a gang tied up the members of a rich family and put each member in a separate room. The gang then threatened each family member and asked where the valuables were kept. One of them is always bound to tell, especially when someone could get seriously hurt. Usually the gangs don't want to resort to violence, but they will if necessary. With this particular family, they followed them on the socialite pages of Vogue magazine. After the robbery, the gang even had the audacity to call the father of the family and ask for the appraisal documents for the stolen jewels. Apparently, the gang was finding it hard to sell them without these documents. This was a case of tell us what we want to know or we'll find you and hurt you. Okay, so you get the picture. You know what kind of people we're talking about here. Now back to Kim in a bathrobe with a gun pointed at her head. The ski mask guy said in no uncertain terms, "Tell me where the jewels are." He took her out to the landing where she thought about making a run for it and then realized she'd probably get shot when the elevator door didn't open in time. He took her to the bedroom, where he pushed her forcefully onto the bed and tied her hands with plastic cables and tape. When she screamed, he covered her mouth with that same tape. The guy then picked her up, took her to the bathroom, and dumped her in the bathtub. It wasn't hard to find what they were looking for. The bounty included what was in a jewelry box, what was lying around, and what was in her purse. According to Kardashian's statement to the police, the haul included 2 Cartier diamond bracelets, a Jacob necklace gold inlaid with diamonds, earrings with diamonds by Lorraine Schwartz and others by Yanina, 3 gold necklaces by Jacob, little bracelets, jewels, rings, a necklace by Lorraine Schwartz with diamonds, another little necklace with 6 diamonds underneath, another diamond necklace with the name of my son, Saint, on it, a Jacob diamond cross, 2 rings in yellow gold. Yeah, she obviously didn't travel light. We're surprised she didn't add to that statement the kitchen sink, the diamond-studded kitchen sink. All in all, around $10 million worth of jewelry was taken from her. They also took her smartphones and some cash. In the tub, she didn't really know what was going on. She did fear for her life, though, thinking the guys might come back in. When she was sure they were gone, she started to rip the tape off. That, she said, wasn't hard at all. She guessed the guys weren't too experienced at home invasions. She even said they argued like kids the whole time they were doing the robbery. According to reports, the gang's getaway vehicles were bicycles. We guess they didn't think they'd be involved in a high-speed chase through Paris. It was actually quite clever because bicycles are easy to get rid of and hard to trace, and the gang knew CCTV was watching them. They're not very good carriers of bags, though. During the escape, one guy dropped a diamond and platinum cross on the sidewalk. 3 days later, some people's worlds were turned upside down when they heard that the next installment of Keeping Up with the Kardashians was going to be placed on hold indefinitely. Fans were already feeling the first shivers of cold turkey when the robbery became the sensation in the media. But get this, some people thought there hadn't been a robbery at all. Some folks thought she was behind it all. You see, some things just didn't add up for some people. They asked the question of why she was carrying so much jewelry with her. Okay, so a diamond ring and maybe a necklace or 2 is reasonable, but why was she in France with a veritable pirate's treasure chest? Well, she was at the time incredibly wealthy and not one to shy away from the cameras. Perhaps she always carried that many valuables with her. After all, listen to what a member of the Saudi royal family said after being asked about the heist. There's no question in my mind that this will play heavily on the mind of shoppers and travelers from the Gulf when it comes to visiting Paris. Lots wear their jewelry very openly here. Maybe her traveling treasure wasn't all that strange. Then others asked why was she not bruised after her ordeal, especially around her wrists? And if her smartphone had been stolen, why was she using one in a photo after she'd spoken to the police? They knew this because they'd seen the video clip. Some people wondered if she had not staged the entire thing to make a giant insurance claim. That kind of talk on the internet didn't sit well with her. She said that not only had she been the victim of a violent robbery, but she was now being victimized back home in the US. Let's remember, this is a woman who at gunpoint had screamed the words, "Don't kill me, I have babies. Don't kill me, please. I have babies. I'm a mom." She soon filed lawsuits against several media outlets and put a gag order on that video. She later dropped the lawsuits, which inspired conspiracy theorists once again to air their knee-jerk reactions online. Okay, they said, maybe she didn't do it for the insurance money, but maybe she just wanted even more publicity than she already has. Really? She'd risk becoming a criminal in France to get more attention when she arguably has more attention than the sun? The whole thing being staged just didn't add up. Then some suspects were apprehended by the police along with the alleged ringleader, one Omar At-Kadachi, aka Omar the Elder. This 60-something man was made out to be some kind of criminal mastermind, although his lawyer said he's very far from the fantasized image of a great bandit that he portrayed. Another guy was arrested after his DNA was found at the site. He later admitted that he'd been part of the robbery and had even tried to sell her ring. He added that this proved difficult given the ring was so well known. It ain't easy to fence the crown jewels, that's for sure, but it can be done. 11 suspects were apprehended in total, most of them aged 44 to 72. The 5 men that entered the building that day have since been dubbed the Grandpa Robbers because they were aged 60 to 72. As we write this, the trial has yet to take place, although one man named Younes Abbas isn't denying anything. He's since written a book called I Kidnapped Kim Kardashian. The 67-year-old guy is the guy that dropped the diamond-encrusted cross on the sidewalk when he was making his slow getaway on a bicycle. He later wrote, "It went fast, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes from entry to exit. Because everything went smoothly. Nobody interfered, the victim handed over the jewels without resistance. He's hoping he'll be given a light sentence given his honesty and the fact that he has an ailing heart." As for the missing jewelry, well, the Kardashian bling is still out there somewhere. It's very likely everything was taken apart and those parts were sold separately. They could well be sitting in jewelry stores in Antwerp as we speak, one day becoming part of some other rich person's jewelry collection. As one expert said about the stolen diamonds, they will be on the fingers of Americans within 6 months to a year, and they won't even know they once made 8 million people on Instagram green with envy. That concierge, he was racked with guilt after what had happened, so much so that he wrote a letter to Kardashian. It went, "Dear Kim, when you feel the cold steel of a gun at your neck, it's the moment when remaining calm can mean the difference between life and death, both our lives. I hope you're feeling better." She didn't reply. Now you need to watch Insane Way Bank Robbers Executed Perfect Bank Heist, Stole $20 million. Or have a look at Airplane Heist, Thief who hijacked a plane and stole $1 million.